Hi, it's Dr. Martin, and I'm here to tell you everything you need to know for happy, healthy, and pain-free knees. Today I'd like to talk to you about something I like to call the terrible cycle of knee pain. And more importantly, I want to tell you what you can do to break out of it if you're in it. So what is the terrible cycle of knee pain? Well, the terrible cycle of knee pain starts with knee pain, of course. But what happens after that? Well, when our knees hurt, it leads to inactivity. And we stop doing the things that we like to do, and of course, stop exercising. And unfortunately, that's counterproductive because that leads to weakening of the muscles, which support the joint and help to alleviate pain. And it also leads to stiffness because if we're not moving our knee, that old saying becomes true: if you don't use it, you lose it. Your knee joint gets stiff, and that also leads to worsening of the symptoms. And then what happens next, unfortunately, is because we're not being active, we're not exercising, we start to gain weight. And the knee sees 4 pounds of pressure for every pound that we gain. So if you gain 25 pounds, all of a sudden, it's like carrying around a 100-pound sack of potatoes on your back. That's how much more pressure your knees feel. So that starts to worsen the pain. And then what happens next is even more sad, because when we're in pain, we're not doing the things that we enjoy doing, we're gaining weight, we start to not feel so good about ourselves, and we get depressed. And now depression doesn't do anything directly to your knee, but depression affects how we perceive and we feel pain, and it worsens pain. So when you start to get depressed, you start to notice the pain more, it feels more severe than it otherwise should, and unfortunately it leads to restarting this terrible cycle. So now the pain begins to worsen. So how do we break out of this? Well, there's some simple things, and if you educate yourself properly, you can start to break out of the cycle and start to feel better. So if you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to visit systemsforknees.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember, don't worry, knee happy.